The Nevada desert stretched before him, a canvas of shimmering heat. Dr. Alex Reed, a young infectious disease specialist, felt a knot of unease. He was in the heart of a medical mystery.
It started with a handful of miners. All fell ill. Each suffered from a baffling array of symptoms, their bodies ravaged by an unknown enemy.
Alex examined the latest reports, his brow furrowed in concentration: fever, muscle atrophy, and rapid organ failure. The symptoms were aggressive, relentless. Even more perplexing were the strange mineral deposits found in the patient's blood work. Metallic, iridescent, unlike anything he had ever seen.
The CDC was baffled. Theories flew around like desert winds, each more improbable than the last.
Alex, however, was drawn to the anomalous minerals. They were the only clue in this maddening puzzle. He knew with a certainty that chilled him to the bone that these minerals held the key to unlocking the secrets of this disease. He just didn't know it yet, but this was just the beginning. The minerals became Alex's obsession. He was drawn to their enigmatic properties, their unusual composition, and the mystery that seemed to surround them. It was as if they were calling out to him, urging him to uncover their secrets. He spent countless hours in the lab, analyzing their composition, tracing their origins. Each test, each analysis brought him closer to a startling revelation. The deeper he delved, the more questions arose, and the more determined he became to find answers. His investigation led him down a rabbit hole of hushed whispers and classified documents. He uncovered files that were meant to stay hidden, documents that spoke of experiments and cover-ups. The more he discovered, the more he realized that he was treading on dangerous ground.
The minerals, he discovered, were not naturally occurring. They were unlike anything he had ever seen before, a blend of elements that defied natural laws. It was as if they had been crafted with a specific purpose in mind. They were engineered, a bizarre alloy of rare earth elements. This revelation sent shockwaves through Alex. Who could have created such a thing? And for what purpose? The implications were staggering, and the potential consequences terrifying. He traced the minerals back to a single source, a shadowy corporation known as the Prime Organization. This entity was shrouded in mystery, its operations cloaked in secrecy. Few knew of its existence, and even fewer understood its true purpose.
The name sent shivers down his spine. The Prime Organization was a name that invoked fear and unease. It was whispered about in the darkest corners of the scientific community, a boogeyman that many believed to be a myth. The Prime Organization was notorious, whispered about in hushed tones in the scientific community. It was said to have its hands in everything, from groundbreaking scientific research to clandestine operations that skirted the edges of legality. They operated in the shadows, wielding unimaginable wealth and influence. Their reach was vast, their power unparalleled. They were the puppet masters, pulling the strings from behind the scenes, shaping the world to their will.
But what was their interest in these miners? What connection did these engineered minerals have with the men who toiled in the depths of the earth? The questions gnawed at Alex, driving him to dig deeper, to uncover the truth. And what did it have to do with the disease ravaging their bodies? The miners were falling ill, their bodies succumbing to a mysterious ailment. Was it connected to the minerals? Or was there something even more sinister at play?
Alex felt a growing sense of dread. The pieces of the puzzle were falling into place, but the picture they formed was one of horror and despair. He was on the brink of a discovery that could change everything, but at what cost? He was walking a tightrope, balancing his burgeoning curiosity against an instinctive fear. Each step he took brought him closer to the edge, to a precipice from which there might be no return. Balancing his burgeoning curiosity against an instinctive fear, he knew that the answers he sought could bring him face to face with dangers he was not prepared to confront. Yet, he couldn't turn away. He knew he was stepping into a dangerous game, one with stakes far higher than he could have ever imagined. The Prime Organization was not an opponent to be taken lightly. They played for keeps, and the consequences of losing were dire. But he couldn't turn back. The lives of the miners, perhaps countless others, depended on him uncovering the truth. He had to press on to see this through to the end, no matter the cost. The fate of many rested on his shoulders, and he would not let them down. A cryptic message arrived one day, a single photograph with coordinates etched on the back. The photograph was old, its edges frayed and yellowed with age, suggesting it had been passed through many hands before reaching its final destination. The coordinates were precise, leading to a place that seemed almost forgotten by time itself. The image showed a desolate landscape, snow-covered and unforgiving. It was a place where the cold seemed to seep into your very bones, a place where survival was a daily battle against the elements. The vast expanse of white stretched endlessly, broken only by the occasional silhouette of a distant mountain or a cluster of barren trees. Siberia. The coordinates pointed to a remote research facility miles from any known civilization. This facility, hidden away in the icy wilderness, was a stark contrast to the emptiness surrounding it. It stood as a solitary beacon of human endeavor in a place where nature reigned supreme.
Alex knew, with a certainty that chilled him to the bone, that this was another piece of the puzzle. The photograph, the coordinates, the desolate landscape, they all pointed to something much larger, something that had been hidden away for reasons he could only begin to fathom. His mind raced with possibilities, each more terrifying than the last.
He traveled to Siberia, braving the biting cold and the watchful eyes that seemed to follow his every move. The journey was arduous, each step through the snow feeling like a battle against an invisible force. The wind howled around him, carrying with it whispers of secrets long buried beneath the ice. The research facility was abandoned, its halls eerily silent. The walls, once bustling with activity, now stood as silent witnesses to whatever had transpired within. Dust covered the surfaces, and the air was thick with the scent of decay and neglect. It was as if time had stopped in this place, leaving behind only echoes of the past. But it was not empty. Alex found remnants of experiments, scientific journals, filled with disturbing findings. The notes were detailed, describing experiments that pushed the boundaries of ethical science. Each page he turned revealed more about the dark nature of the research conducted here, and the potential consequences of their discoveries.
The Prime organization was not only responsible for the engineered minerals, but also for something far more sinister. The documents he uncovered painted a picture of a powerful entity, willing to go to any lengths to achieve their goals. The shadowy figures behind the organization were orchestrating events on a global scale, manipulating outcomes to suit their needs.
They had created a bioengineered microorganism, a pathogen of terrifying potency. This was no ordinary virus. It was designed with precision, crafted to spread quickly and efficiently. The implications of such a creation were staggering, posing a threat not just to individuals but to entire populations. A virus, unlike anything the world had ever seen. Under the microscope, it appeared almost alien, its structure complex and its behavior unpredictable. The scientists who had worked on it had unlocked something that should have remained hidden, something that had the potential to change the course of human history. The strange minerals, Alex realized with a sickening lurch, were not a cause of the disease, but a symptom. These minerals were a byproduct of the virus's replication process, a physical manifestation of the pathogen's presence within the host. The more he learned, the more he understood the true scale of the threat they were facing, a byproduct of the virus replicating within the host's body. The virus altered the host's biology, creating these minerals as it spread. This discovery was both fascinating and horrifying, revealing the virus's ability to fundamentally change its environment in ways that defied conventional understanding. He had stumbled upon a conspiracy that stretched across continents, a conspiracy with the power to reshape the very fabric of humanity. The interconnected data he found showed a web of influence and control that spanned the globe. With the Prime organization at its center, this was not just a local issue, it was a global crisis, one that required immediate action to prevent a catastrophe of unimaginable proportions. Section 4. Unveiling the invisible hand. The pieces of the puzzle clicked into place. The Prime organization, driven by an insatiable thirst for power, had engineered a virus capable of decimating populations, of reshaping the world in their image.
The infected miners were merely collateral damage, test subjects in a grand, horrifying experiment. I knew I had to act, to expose the Prime organization and their insidious plan.
But they were powerful, their reach extending into the highest echelons of government and science. He was a lone man, armed only with his intellect and a growing sense of moral outrage. Yet he knew he couldn't stand by and watch the world crumble around him.
I began to gather evidence, compiling my findings, documenting the Prime organization's crimes against humanity. I reached out to trusted colleagues, sharing my fears, urging them to take action. The world needed to know the truth.
The invisible hand of the Prime organization was poised to close its grip, and Alex was determined to pry it open. Section 5. The race against time. The virus was spreading at an alarming rate, faster than anyone had anticipated. It was no longer confined to a single region or country. It had become a global crisis, affecting every corner of the world. Reports surfaced from across the globe. Isolated villages in Africa, bustling cities in Europe, and remote islands in the Pacific. No place was safe, and the virus showed no signs of slowing down. The world was in a state of panic, with governments scrambling to contain the outbreak. The symptoms were the same everywhere: high fever, severe cough, and a mysterious rash. But what puzzled scientists the most were the strange minerals found in the patient's bloodstreams, a terrifying calling card that hinted at something far more sinister. The world was on the brink of a pandemic orchestrated by the Prime Organization. This shadowy group had unleashed the virus with a clear objective: to destabilize global economies and seize control. The stakes had never been higher.
I worked tirelessly, fueled by adrenaline and a desperate hope. Every night I pored over data, ran countless experiments, and pushed my body to its limits. The lab became my second home, and the quest for a cure consumed my every waking moment. I knew that a vaccine was the only way to stop the virus, to break the Prime Organization's hold on humanity. But developing a vaccine was no easy task. It required precision, collaboration, and an unwavering commitment to the cause.
He collaborated with leading scientists from around the world, pooling their knowledge, sharing their expertise, and working together towards a common goal. The sense of camaraderie was palpable, and the determination to succeed was unwavering. The race against time had begun, a race with the fate of the world hanging in the balance. Every second counted, and the pressure was immense. The clock was ticking, and the world was watching, hoping for a miracle.
Every moment was precious, every breakthrough a beacon of hope in the encroaching darkness. The smallest success was celebrated, and each step forward brought them closer to the ultimate goal: a vaccine that could save millions of lives.
The pressure was immense, the weight of billions of lives resting on our shoulders. The world was counting on us, and failure was not an option. The sleepless nights, the endless hours in the lab, and the constant stress were all worth it if it meant finding a cure. But we pressed on, driven by a shared sense of purpose, a belief that we must find a way to defeat this invisible enemy. The collaboration and teamwork were unprecedented, and the sense of urgency was palpable.
The world watched and waited as the clock ticked down in this race against time. The outcome was uncertain, but the resolve of those fighting the virus was unwavering. In the end, it was a testament to human resilience and the unyielding spirit of those who refused to give up.